So hi everybody, my name is Enrique, I'm 18 years old, and I just finished my first semester in economics. In fact, today I'm going to present a topic related to this science. As I was designing the course, a new concept showed up. Well, not exactly new for me because I tried it in high school, but this time I had the opportunity to delve a little deeper into a topic that I really love, and on this occasion I want to share it with you. The consumer utility. Well, first, I have to clarify that utility has two perspectives. One from the consumer, and the other one from the producer. I'm going to explain both in order that you don't get lost and that you can identify and differentiate what we're talking about. Well, let's start with the producer utility, which we already know about. First of all, remember, a producer is a person, a company, someone that creates and sells goods or services. In this sense, utility means profit, just like that. Well, profits, earnings, money. Here the interesting thing is how we measure that. Because a typical mistake is believe that our income is the utility. No, that's a wrong and dangerous vision, in which we're taking apart a very important factor, our cost. Let's put an example. Imagine that I'm a headphone producer. It costs me $1 to produce a headphone, and I sell it at a price of $5. My utility is not $5. My utility is $4. From the income of 5, I subtract the cost of 1. Pretty obvious, right? I know. But I have to insist that this data is more important in our analysis than this one, the income. What happens if I don't care about this? Let's check. Again, the same example. I have my company of headphones, but this time I upgrade the headphones, the product, and now it generates a new cost of $10. At first sight, it seems that my profits increase. But if I look more closely, I realize that now it costs me $7 in production. So my profit, my utility is now only $3. Out of my income increase, now I am making less money. So that is the reason that why utility as a producer is really important. Not always having high income is good, and not always having low cost is good. Sometimes I have to invest more, in other cases I have to lower the prices because no one will buy from me. And sometimes they're not even profitable. Whatever the situation, we have to consider these three things: income, cost, utility. It's curious because even though it's not complicated, you don't need to be an economist to do this. A lot of sellers ignore their costs and only take their income into consideration. Yes, you have more income than last week, but you also spend more in production and you get stuck, unable to optimize. So, it's the reason that I insist that you have to check not only on your income, but also in your cost. This is applied not only when we are producers. It's not obligatory that we have to be a producer or a seller. Maybe in our own personal finance. Because for example, if I ask you how money do you earn per week, I'm pretty sure you could know because you have your contract work and everything. But if I ask you how much money do you spend, I don't know if you could answer that. So that is the reason we have to always consider the cost and our expenses, not only the income. So that was the producer utility, and you could ask yourself, so what happens with the consumer? So the consumer utility. In this case, utility means satisfaction. So what do we satisfy? Needs, necessities. Well, now, the concept of need in these times is very wide, very broad. Because in the beginning of humanity, we could summarize the needs in eat, drink, sleep, have a home. But now, society has a need to buy a smartphone, a need to pay for a streaming service, a need to pay for a smartwatch. I don't know. So, that is one of the reasons that consumer utility is really complicated to measure because it depends on our personal perception. Well, for example, satisfaction, in this case, is normally applied as a benefit or happiness to the purchase of products. Maybe you don't care about much about the music, the instruments, but I do. So there will be a big difference in the utility that I receive if I buy a guitar compared to if you buy a because we do not value it in the same way. So we could summarize that the consumer utility is very personal. And as you may have already noticed, it is very complicated to measure because of that. And also because it depends on infinite factors, like climate, age, country, experiences, among tons of other factors. But even so, we can express it subjectively and build a model that helps us to understand society and human beings. This is the model, this graphic, like that. We will need real life examples to understand all this. Imagine that I have bought a whole pizza for dinner, just for me. The first slice of pizza gives me 10 units of satisfaction, right? I'm hungry. The second slice of pizza gives me 15 units of satisfaction. With the third slice of pizza, I get 16 units of satisfaction, my total utility. And I start to feel full, but I decided to consume another slice. So, if I continue consuming a slice of pizza, instead of having a good satisfaction, on the contrary, I will begin to feel very bad. I mean, I could be sick if I eat a whole pizza for dinner, you know? So, this is another concept, that the satisfaction is not always positive. We could have this negative satisfaction. That is the reason that this graph goes down, you know? Because at first time that I was hungry, I received a big utility, because of course I was hungry. But every time I added a slice of pizza, I get less and less satisfaction because I already satisfied my need. And even reaching the point where we have this negative satisfaction. There is another model called diminishing marginal utility. This model tells us that for each additional unit consumed, the satisfaction is less and less, even reaching the point where we have this negative satisfaction. As a result, well, in a product or everything, in a service or whatever, the more it is consumed, the less utility it will have. Actually, that is really important. The more it is consumed, the less utility it will have. Now we can understand better the phrase, everything in excess is bad, because of this model. And it is really amazing how this model applies and fits to many realities in our world. Really, you can apply this to almost everything. You can take advantage of the utility, because understanding this concept will surely help us to have an efficient life, a happy life. There are two factors that I consider greatly influence the model: time and space. Let's go with more examples of our reality. Yeah, as an example, I have many pairs of shoes in my house, right? If I buy another pair, then whatever, other from the collection, right? But if I'm on the street and my shoes break, and if there is a shoe store nearby, I will really appreciate the value of having a pair of shoes. Even though in my house I had a lot of shoes, at that time and in that space, I didn't have one pair. So I could really understand the value of having a pair of shoes. And it is because of this graph, you know? Because if I have, imagine that this point is 20 pair of shoes. I mean, in a higher total utility. But in the moment that I didn't have shoes, my first increase of utility was really big. So I feel that satisfaction. Another example. Many times we see how rich people make stupid purchases, right? What happens is that in their minds, it's like, I have literally everything, 10 houses, 15 cars, nothing is useful anymore. Except for this exotic desk. There is only one in all over the world, and it took 40 years to build on the moon. And he bought it for $1 million. You could say he's an idiot, right? But in his personal life, something new, something exotic, that he doesn't have will give him a big utility. So this is a good way to understand how the consumer utility works based on the quantity and on the time and space. I mean, every day you drink water, right? And you don't realize the satisfaction of that. But if you're in the desert dying of thirst, I'm pretty sure you will receive this big satisfaction. So what is the difference in these two cases? That in one case, you drink every day, you know the product. But in the other case, you didn't have the product. So that is the main rule. When you don't have something, the first time you have it, you will have a big utility. Well, it's a theory, it's not like always true, but it's like a general rule in how human works and also how the society works. One last example. There is a study technique called Pomodoro, in which you study 25 minutes and you rest for 5 minutes. And it is explained in this model. After half an hour, in this point, my brain gets tired. My brain gets tired, so it is now more difficult to understand, to learn, or to memorize what I was learning. So, time factor. I wait a moment, I take a rest, and then the model restarts. So I start again over here. It's like we cut the model for our personal advantage. Because we know that being in this part of the graph is bad, because we are not taking advantage of the higher total utility. So it's really important to understand this, because we can apply this in our daily life. Really, I invite you to reflect on how the consumer utility affects your daily life. Because if you know how to take advantage of the consumer utility, I'm pretty sure you will have an efficient life, a happy life, and live in the present to enjoy what you have and to notice your own type of satisfaction. So, to conclude and to summarize, producer utility means profit. We have money, we have income, we have cost utility. Consumer utility means satisfaction. These are related because we as consumers are going to buy what gives us the most satisfaction, and the producer will receive the satisfaction in money. He will know that his product is very useful because he sells a lot, so he will seek to improve the product in order to receive his own utility, his own money. You can see that it's like a kind of cycle in the economic machine in which we can learn and also we can, everyone ends up being happy. So well, thank you. I hope you find this topic useful to you, and I appreciate your time and